Hi everyone, this is XRP USD daily chart and the price action basing out at $1 back in June, and now we've had this breakout of this descending triangle pattern with the price action now pretty much just sitting pretty above the $1.06 level. Now this is obviously really awkward trading because in a situation where we have a very bearish market, we have to be looking for long positions at the most extreme of the range which we're in for the best case scenario. And other than that, we'll be looking for shorts at resistance, and resistance for XRP is up here in this area. The first level being 1.27, the second 1.29, and then essentially 1.32 here, representing kind of this little zone here, 1.34, 1.27, and roughly on the bottom, lots of decimals. And as you see, all of these red order blocks stacking up. So what does this mean for us? How do we trade this? Because some traders are going to see XRP here just sitting pretty as a signal that it's ready to move up. But look, decreasing volume, right, obviously does suggest a move could be coming, but in what direction? And if we put on, of course, our liquidity map, we can see here what's the most extreme of the range which we're in. Currently, it's here. This is the bottom of these nodes here, these very low volume nodes. And this is essentially where you want to be, which is currently below where we have been, right? So at the very least, you want to be looking at $1. The very extreme of this range as where you want to be entering. As you'll notice here, we actually, even though the volume steeps off here, if we're talking about the very extreme of where we want to come in, it is absolutely starting at $1 and arguably slightly below to catch a wick, maybe heading towards 0.97. So that's the current situation. Coming in here is extremely risky. We don't have many plays at the moment. The whole market is like this at present. Very difficult trading activity. So all we can do is assess these assets like XRP here. Look where it's been. Look where the extreme of the range is, which we're seeing just a little bit below $1, which makes obviously $1 much more right to come in on, which means it's a waiting game. Because what we could see from the price action is simply a dip like this and then a resumption of trading within the range before heading lower. And that's obviously what we're trying to capitalize on. But we can't ignore the downside risk, meaning that if we come in here and it heads lower, then we're most likely going to get interactions with the area where we've entered in, allowing us to reposition with minimal to no loss. But if we come in here on the presumption we're just going to get a move up and volume suddenly just going to appear, then of course you risk holding the baby if the price action heads lower, and you may not get that retest, that reposition if we head lower to get out or avoid your stop loss being hit, which is why coming in much lower at $1 makes much more sense. And really, you probably want to look at your first position being $1 to scale in, and then your second position maybe 0.97 to maybe scoop it up from here. And of course, if we don't see that and we see a move up from here, then we will reevaluate, of course. But right now, you can see the sellers are creeping in, they're adding a lot of downwards pressure, and you see the bulls are retreating a little bit, which means it's quite easy to see the price action dipping now at the least back down to $1 where we were essentially at the back end of June. But that's XRP.